Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Jukebox Junkies, a podcast where we tackle music industry topics, trends, and pop culture moments. Today, we're going to start a two-part episode reacting to our favorite and our least favorite songs of the year. Today, we're going to start with my list. So, both of us have put together a list of our 20 best and worst songs of the year. So, we're just going to break them down, debate, fight each other, what you have to do when you're talking about your favorites and least favorites. So, are you ready, Chelsey?
Definitely
Uh,
ready.
how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am great. Just stressing about this list. As one does, because it's funny. So I put these like lists together every year, and this was one of the hardest ones to make. I don't know if it's just because I had more time to really listen to music more this year, or just I don't know if I just like the music better this year or whatever. But like even the song that I have at number 20, I on the right day I could have put it at number one.
Right, for sure. That was a hard part about doing this list, like finding where to put everybody on it
Yeah.
exactly.
So that's why. So one of the rules that we put together for our list is a two artist limit for like the lead artist because as we've talked about in several podcasts, I'm a huge Taylor Swift fan and I love the album Folklore. So my list could have had like at least half or more Taylor Swift songs. So I was like, I have to limit this.
There's 16 songs on that album, in case you guys were wondering. So that
Yeah.
left 4 spots for other songs.
Exactly. And those other four would probably go to Harry Styles. So
I figured that.
so and even my worst list, like I have some songs on my worst list that I don't necessarily hate. I just have more problems with them, like maybe the artist that was on them or what have you. Like I know this artist can do better or whatever. My number 20 worst song of the year is Josh 685 and Jason Derulo, Savage Love.
Yes.
And this is one of those songs I don't necessarily hate it. Like it comes on the radio and it's one of those songs that a lot of times I'll turn, but like I don't have to. It's just the lax siren beat that Josh 685 had from TikTok just annoys me so much.
Yeah, I I only listen to that song because Jason Derulo. So
Yeah.
and it's not something that I've added to my library or anything. I just kind of listen to it in passing, like when I do hear it on the radio or whatever. But
And Jason Derulo, and I might have this story wrong, so I don't remember, but I know there was something about Jason Derulo more or less stole the lax siren beat from Josh 685 and just made a song with it and then basically bullied Josh 685 into giving him the rights and then made a song about it.
dude,
Like yeah, I think I could have kind of that story wrong, but I think that was the basic I like the basic storyline. So that's a big reason why I put it on this list because I think Jason Derulo was not very nice when he stole it. I think he just kind of stole it and asked
just like
for
blatantly.
forgiveness. Yeah, I think he did the ask for forgiveness, not permission kind of thing.
Mm.
But I mean, it worked out for Josh 685 because now he has a number one Billboard hit. So because this
Yeah.
song hit number one on the Billboard Hot 100. But yeah, so my next song at number 19 are these two artists. It really, really hurt me to put them on the list. But it is Sam Smith and Demi Lovato's "I'm Ready."
Yeah. That's just a middle of the ground song for me. I don't hate it. I don't love it. It's not in my library.
Right.
So I guess maybe that does put it towards worst songs, but I don't know.
It's just like I said, similar with Savage Love. It's not necessarily a bad song, but you have Sam Smith and Demi Lovato, two of the best vocalists of the past 10 years. Like they are not only are they like superstar performers, but they are known for their incredible vocals
Yeah.
and they just it should have worked and it didn't.
I feel like it was almost too poppy of a stance to take. They should have done something that was more of a ballad.
Yeah, that would have been a good idea. They tried to make an anthem when they should have just maybe made us all cry
Right,
because
exactly,
they can
because
both do that really well.
for sure, easily.
Yeah. So like this is one of those songs I'm like, it was more of a huge letdown than anything.
Right. For sure. For sure. I am not going to delve too much into it, but Demi Lovato has let me down a lot this year.
Yeah, yeah. When I was making this list, her song, "I Love Me," I didn't put it on the list, but it's probably in the top 25, 30. It just missed the list because it's again, it's not a bad song. It's just she can do so much better.
I definitely agree.
Yes. So moving on to number 18 is powfu. I think I'm saying these two names right. I hope I am.
I have no
Powfu
idea.
and beabadoobee with I think that's how you say it. It's beabadoobee.
I mean, yeah, that's what it looks like it would
Yeah.
sound like.
So it's powfu and beabadoobee with deathbed coffee for your head.
This one almost made my list.
Yeah. It's just so I don't even know. It's like a lullaby, but it just never worked for me.
There's something about TikTok songs. Like they can either be really, really great or they're really, really awful.
Moving on to the next one is one of my most hated artists of the past decade.
Shut
Uh,
your face.
it's Maroon 5, Nobody's Love. I can't do it.
So
I just
you don't even like Maroon 5? Like I'm still stuck on that.
I don't like they have a couple songs. I like all their earlier stuff
Oh.
like pre like moves like Jagger and back I think are pretty good, but moves like Jagger up I think is pretty awful for the most part. They have a
Mm.
couple okay songs, but I have not liked a Maroon 5 song in over a decade.
My personal opinion, they'll never get any better than Overexposed, which is the
Yeah,
album with Daylight and everything on it. So it is hard for me. Like I don't listen to them as much as I used to, but they are like one of my favorite artists. I will still listen to Overexposed on repeat today.
yeah. Yeah, they like one of my favorite songs of theirs and one of my favorite songs period is Wake Up Call. And I think that might have been 2009,
Yeah.
2010, 2011. It was somewhere in there. So that was like the last song I genuinely loved by them. Everything else I did like
Girl
oh
Like
my
You.
gosh.
Girls Like You.
No, well SZA, What Lovers Do
Oh
with
yeah.
SZA.
What lovers do.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that's because I'm a big SZA fan.
Yeah.
But
I honestly don't like this song either. I don't dislike it enough to put it in my top 20 worst songs.
there's just nothing to this song. Like it's literally just sounded like they completely phoned it in. They were just like the label's like, "Hey, we want another song to have on the radio." And they're like, "Okay, cool.
Right.
We'll have one to you in an hour." And they
Yeah.
gave them this, and so it's like no effort was put into it.
Or like it's a pre-record that we just haven't heard and they were like, "Oh, this will be easy. We can just send them that."
So number 16 on my list is Ariana Grande and Justin Bieber, "Stuck with You," which Ariana Grande, it hurts me to put her on this list too. Obviously, I could put every Justin Bieber song on this list and be totally
Yeah.
fine.
We already
But
know that.
well, so actually, even though I should talk Justin Bieber a lot on this podcast, I do have to point out I do like Justin Bieber. I know I have to keep saying that. I just did not like a lot of his songs this year, and for some reason, I don't know why, but I love "Holy." I shouldn't. It's totally not a song I should like. Maybe it's because Chance the Rapper is on it. I love Chance the Rapper, and I absolutely adore "Lonely." They're like my two favorite songs right now, other than new Taylor Swift music.
Right, and that's his two most
So
recent, but those two that you just named, they kind of have a little Taylor-esque vibe right now going on. You know, they fit
yeah,
that very Taylor Harry vibe you've got that you like.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
So I
So
can see why you like those songs. I don't know why you don't like this one.
b-
This song does no wrong.
because I sorry. Sometimes you just say things that just crack me up, and I just can't stop laughing. uh, Stuck with you. I, I I just don't know how I feel about. I guess it's like its own genre now, the quarantine pop, and
Yeah.
like I guess with me, this year has sucked, and being in quarantine sucks, and this whole year, the pandemic, it just sucks. the last thing I want to do is listen to music that's going to remind me of how much life sucks.
Oh,
So that
yeah.
when like with folklore, like how I've gone on and on about how much I love it. Not only do I is it a Taylor Swift album, so I would like it anyway, but it has like this narrative and it has such deep songwriting stuff, so I can kind of escape into it and kind of like project to another world, and it gives me like a whole different feeling. Stuck with You just reminds me that this year sucks and we're stuck, and plus I think this is one of Ariana's worst vocal performances in a very long time.
But, you know, okay, she had just recently she's only been with Scooter Braun and Justin Bieber team officially. Like, they've always kind of been friends or whatever, but she's only been officially represented by Scooter Braun for, like, maybe 2 years now.
Yeah.
And this was kind of like them merging worlds to me, and I don't feel like it
Yeah.
was necessarily to highlight either artist. You know what I'm saying? I think it was really about just bringing publicity and attention to both groups.
Yeah, and I mean, it was good. Like I think a lot of the proceeds, like when they released the song, I think a lot of the proceeds, if not all of them, were for COVID-19 relief, and it all went to
Yeah,
charity.
no
So
doubt.
like that part of it was good, but sometimes I'm just not a huge fan of like charity singles, and this to me did sound very charity esque. Plus, Scooter Braun is actually a co-writer on this. It was his first co-writing credit, and because of me and Taylor Swift, I hate Scooter Braun. Like it's just one of those things I have to hate him. So it just Scooter Braun.
Yeah, I definitely know how you feel about Scooter. I don't necessarily share the same sentiments.
Right.
Um, and this is like a total other podcast that we'll have to get into, but I do
Hmm.
have complete opposite feelings about Scooter and this song than you do.
Right. Obviously, spoiler alert, she likes the song a lot, guys.
Like a lot of lot.
so so in other words, we will touch on it even more next week. So let's go on number 15. I have Dance Monkey by Tones and I. Ugh. Just
Yes.
her I'm actually surprised I only have it at 15, and it's only because it's pretty catchy. Her voice in this song especially drives me crazy. I cannot stand it. It just grosses me out. Like I don't know. I don't like it. It is very catchy, and I don't always turn it off when it comes on, like cuz it is one of those songs that does put you like in a good mood, like it's cuz it's fun. It just annoys me, especially with it being on the radio every 5 minutes.
Right.
It drove, and I listen to the radio a lot, so it drove me crazy.
See, that's where we're different. I don't listen to the radio at all. I curate every single bit of my listening experience.
Tones and I like her voice does annoy me, but she had a song called "You're So Fucking Cool" that came out this year
Yeah.
that I really liked. So it's not necessarily her. I think it was just the song, the production, the way she used her voice. So I'm looking at my list right now, and I just realized even though we made the rule for only 2 songs per lead artist, I have 3 Justin Bieber songs. Oh, spoiler alert! But
It's okay.
well, with the list already
We
made,
won't
so
count this next one.
okay,
We'll count that towards the other guy.
okay, cool. So next on my list, number 14 is Justin Bieber and Quavo, "Intentions." And so this is another one of those songs. Like I said, I really enjoyed music this year. Like there's not really that many horrible songs. This song, I just don't like Justin Bieber this year, and I just couldn't get into it. And I think the whole "shower you with my attention," and then there's like a line about her being in the kitchen cooking for him, and any song that has like those kind of lines, even if it's not meant to be misogynistic, I kind of read it as misogynistic, and uh it's kind of toxic masculinity, and then I just think of Justin Bieber's personality as a person, and I just can't do
Oh, man. Well, see, I've never made that kind of conjecture because I'm a simple Southern girl.
it.
I hear him saying things like that, and I'm like, "Oh my god, he loves Haley so much."
And that could be the pessimistic gay boy in me too. That's just like, oh, straight culture. Who brought this into my ears? That's really funny
I'm
though.
just saying, like, really, it that really just made me feel like a simple Southern girl because I I appreciate the line about her being in the kitchen cooking for him and, like, I don't know, they're just so cute together, like, we've talked about this a lot, you know how much
Mhm.
I ship their little relationship, but
Yeah, and I don't think that line is problematic like I feel like it is, solely because I don't think he's saying it at all from a misogyny standpoint. He's saying it's a
he's a
um
grown man talking about his wife cooking for
e-
him, and I love it.
exactly, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I just sometimes I read into things more than maybe I should, and or maybe when it's someone like Justin Bieber, I find reasons not to like it, so I don't have to tell people I like Justin Bieber.
Right, well, you don't have to
But
admit it, I won't tell.
okay, shh, we'll keep it a secret. All right, so moving on to number 13, I have Surf Mesa and Emilee with Illy or I Love You Baby.
Yeah.
And I don't have too much to say about this song other than there's just nothing here. It's literally a filler song that somehow got to number 2 on pop radio. It's kind of catchy. It can get stuck in your head, but it's like an unfinished song. I think maybe if it was just Emily's vocals and had different production, maybe it'd be good, but I don't know.
Okay, so I don't let me make sure. No, I didn't. But I almost put this on my favorites list.
Oh, really?
Yes, because I thoroughly enjoy this song. It's a super happy, it's dance themed. It's got a little ding 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 ding. I
Yeah,
don't know. It caught me. It had me.
yeah, and this is a song that I'm not surprised that you like this song because it's more of that dance pop, even more of a alternative kind of sound that I'm not a huge fan of. But yeah, that doesn't surprise me that you like it. All right, so moving on, I'm gonna try to get through some of these
Right.
favorites and just kind of talk about it and move on because I want to get to the favorites because I'm really excited to talk about all of my favorite songs.
Okay.
So number 12, we have Blackpink and Selena Gomez with Ice Cream, and like I've said many times, K-pop stands, please don't come at me. Blackpink has good songs, just not this one.
Yeah, just not this one. Like, period. What do if y'all know something good about this song that we don't, please share it in the comments below.
I I will say I will give this song one compliment. I was at a dance club in the city next to where I live, and this song came on, and it actually worked in that kind of setting. Like it worked. I don't know how else to really put it. It just worked. It was actually fun. I actually enjoyed it in that setting, but I cannot listen to it by myself. Just if I just have music on, I'm like, no, skip. When you're with a group of people and you're not really paying attention to the words, maybe more of the beat and just the melody, it works. Just not by itself.
I haven't even had that experience. So,
Yeah. I mean, it's not I don't really recommend that experience, but it came on, I was like, "Oh, no, here we go. Here we go." And
but then
then
it was lit.
yeah.
Okay.
So, at number 11, I have Lil Baby and 42 Dugg with We Paid.
Right. So Lil Baby, the babies have put out a lot of music this year.
Yeah, that they have.
But Lil Baby's not one of my favorite artists.
No.
So
I think I think there is a Lil Baby song out there that I could really enjoy. I just haven't found it yet.
right,
I
and maybe one day.
Yeah, I don't think he's a bad artist. There's something about his songs that just don't work for me, but I want to like him more than I do, if that makes any sense.
No, I agree because I listen to everything he puts out, hoping that it'll have like a new tone or a
Me
new
too.
kind of quality about it, but it all just kind
And
of falls flat for me. It falls just short. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, and obviously he works for somebody because his album that I can't think of the name of right now.
Um,
I don't know. That came out this year. Maybe something. Was it called Something to Prove?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That sounds right.
Sounds right.
Don't fact check me, but I it was really popular. I think it was in the top 5 of the albums of the year. So obviously he works for a lot of people. There's just something about him that doesn't quite work for me.
Right.
So moving on, number 10 is Maroon 5 song number 2, the much bigger hit of the two, Memories.
I was very disappointed to see this. This is another middle of the pack song for me.
Yeah.
Um, because I enjoy it, but it's not good enough that I would put it on my favorites list.
Yeah. And also, I don't have any specific problems with the song other than it is such, again, like I've said with a couple of these songs, it's such filler. There's just, there's no, it holds no weight. There's just, I
It
need more from A-list celebrities.
Exactly. I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah. And that segues perfectly into my number 9 song. It is Calvin Harris and The Weeknd with Over Now.
This one, oh my gosh, I was so surprised. You love The weekend.
I know.
How did
That's
he end
why,
up here?
because so actually, believe it or not, because you know how much I love The Weeknd. I've raved about him several times. Although surprisingly, I did not put one of his songs in my favorites list, which I'm not sure how that happened. I guess it's just like I said, it was a really competitive year, but
I will say it was also hard not to focus on things that came out the latter half of the year.
so I will say last year he had a song called Lost in the Fire with, and I hope I'm saying your name right, Guy Stein,
Oh, don't get me wrong.
and and I think I had that number one worst song of last year. I just hated it, and there was some horrible lyrics in it. So I love The Weeknd, but I will call him out if he has a bad song.
Well, Over Now was actually really, really good to me, and it's another one that it's still middle of the pack, but it was more towards the top. It almost made my top 20.
So we've never gotten into this. We've talked about Calvin Harris a lot, but I've never told you this. He's one of my least favorite artists working in music. Also, like my trifecta of artists I can't stand are Maroon 5, Katy Perry, and Calvin Harris.
Katy
Yes,
Perry?
yes.
Oh my
Although you should
gosh.
be proud of me, I didn't put Daisies on this list. I thought about it, but I didn't.
Well, I wouldn't have been mad, but still, like, I
Although
think
you will also be happy. I did think about putting Smile. It probably wouldn't have made my top 20, but it was definitely in contention. It's definitely on my one of my finalists. So
yeah.
Katy Perry does have a lot of songs I like, just mostly not.
And
But
I played with this song a lot in my head, like, dude, does it make one of my lists? Because I also had it. I know it sounds weird because I just said it was like towards the top and almost made my favorites, but it also almost made my least favorites because of what you just said about Calvin Harris. He always takes the same production approach. Everything sounds extremely similar.
mhm. But you know what's crazy about Calvin Harris, and believe this or not, my favorite Calvin Harris song is, well, I actually really enjoyed his Funk Wave Bounces Volume. Was it Volume 2? That's what it was called.
Yeah.
Uh, I love that album, and specifically Feels with Pharrell and Big Sean and Katy Perry, and
Hmm.
which Calvin Harris and Katy Perry on the same song. And I like Pharrell. I'm not a huge fan of his vocals. I think he's a good producer. I'm not always a huge fan of him as
Right.
actual vocalist.
I share that
Um,
sentiment.
so basically, the only artist I like on that whole song is Big Sean, but somehow they all came together and they really worked. And he tried all these different sounds, and it did not sound like traditional Calvin Harris music. And then,
And then
yeah, it
he just
just,
went right back
it,
to what he knew
yeah, he
sold,
just,
is what I feel like.
yeah. So I don't know. But so moving on to number 8, we have Stay Solid Rocky's Party Girl.
Oh, Stay Solid Rocky. I don't really appreciate this one.
No?
No.
Do you like Stay Solid Rocky?
Yes, I do.
Oh no. I
I
don't
mean,
know too much about
I'm
him.
not like a great big fan, but I have 3 or 4 songs in my what repertoire. That's what I was
Is
looking for.
is this one of them?
Yes, it is.
Oh no. I just I mean, there's so much good hip hop coming out this year. And like there's so many good hip hop artists. And I'm not saying he's not a good hip hop artist. This is literally the only song I've ever heard of his. And
Right.
it just I genuinely don't know if I've ever listened to this entire song. I can't even get through it. It annoys me that much.
I
And
will
so
say it's more of a background song for me. Like,
Yeah.
I just put it on while I'm cleaning or doing whatever. It's not something I just sit down and, like, listen to, but,
Right.
it's cool. It's middle of the pack.
All right. So moving on to number 7, I have Breland and Sam Hunt. So this is a remix, although the original probably would have been on this list too. Called My Truck.
Yeah.
Uh, it's so there's like a couple songs that are just trying to capitalize on Old Town Road's success, and this is one of them. It's a country rap song that just does not work in the slightest.
People have been trying to make country rap work forever, and I feel like it's Mean Girls, and I'm Regina George, and they're Gretchen, and I have to be like, "Fetch is never going to happen. Stop
Right.
trying to make country rap happen." You know?
And so there are some country rap songs that work for me. There's a remix of Jason Aldean's Dirt Road Anthem with Ludacris that I really like.
Yeah.
And then I'm not a huge fan of Nelly's remix of Cruise of Florida Georgia Line, but I think it worked fine enough. Like, I don't hate it.
Meh.
And
Meh.
then I do like Sam Hunt for the most part, and he does kind of the rap, talking, singing kind
Yeah,
of
like, that's the only
thing.
reason I listen to this song is because I know who Sam Hunt is. I don't
Right.
necessarily like him or anything. I have no
Yeah.
feelings one way or the other, but
This one just did not work. And for the life of me right now, I'm trying to think of some of the lyrics. It had some horrible lyrics, but I can't think of any at the top of my head. But it's just one of those country songs that I'm happy did not really. It's kind of caught on. It was on the Hot 100. Like, it was towards the bottom of the pop charts at one point. But I'm just happy it never caught on. This is another TikTok song that people kind of thought might be good, and then they heard the whole thing and they're like, "Oh, maybe not."
just kidding.
Yeah. So speaking of TikTok songs, I think the majority of the rest of my list are kind of TikTok songs,
In a
except
way.
for maybe one or two. Yeah. So number 6 is Avenue Beats "Fuck 2020," or I
Yeah.
guess you can call it, say, F 2020.
Right, but that makes me think of, like, a pickup truck.
Yeah, that's I never thought about that. So yeah, we'll just say "Fuck 2020."
Right.
So I do agree. Fuck 2020 this year has sucked almost in every aspect aside from entertainment, or maybe specifically music, because movies and TV shows all got
Everything
messed
else
up.
was canceled, right.
Yeah,
Cancel
but
culture was brought to life.
yeah, literally, the government got in on the fun. But they're like, wow, all these stands are having so much fun on Twitter. Let's do this and just cancel restaurants for a little while, or let's just
Right.
cancel movie theaters. Let's just do it. I mean,
Who
I guess it
cares?
was for our safety or whatever, and maybe I'm being pessimistic because I'm over it. But this song, so kind of what I said about "Stuck with You," how it reminds you how much the year sucks. The
Right.
song is literally just about it. But it's not even that really bothers me with the song. I just don't think Avenue Beat. It's just such a poorly constructed. Their voices don't work. I did some research on Avenue Beat. They're actually a country trio, I think it is, maybe a duo. But this song's obviously not country at all, and it just, I
Right,
don't
that's
know.
why my silence, I was like, "What?"
Yeah, and I don't think this song is actually intended to be a serious hit or a serious song at all. That's why I didn't put it any higher. I just, I don't know. I had to put it on here pretty high because it was one of my most disdained songs of the year for sure.
Now, we are into your top 5, and I must admit they hurt me a little
They
bit on
hurt
the
me.
inside.
They hurt me too. I just
In just
even think.
different ways.
Yeah. So my top 5, I will say, I've been able, I for most of this list, even F 2020, I can kind of say maybe one or two good things about them. Like, I understand maybe why they were popular. My top 5, no idea. I can't
Mm,
even fathom it. So I kind of want to talk about my number 5 and my number 4 together, because I think in a lot of ways they go together. They have a very similar story. They're very similar songs in a lot of ways.
for sure.
So my number 5 is "Ride It" by Regard and Jay Sean. Although technically Jay Sean's not credited, but it's his song, so I put him on there. And number 4 is "Roses" by St. John and Imanbek.
Mm-hmm.
So, just so what it's weird. So both of these songs were both kind of rising at the same time, and they're both very similar. Like I said, "Ride It" is a Jay Sean song from about 10 years ago. Obviously, Jay Sean was really popular about 10 years ago. He had "Down" and "Do You Remember," and had a couple big hits. Um, and then this DJ Regard took it and pitch shifted it up and re-released it as a new song, and it blew up on TikTok and actually started gaining popularity. Whatever, it's horrible. "Roses," very similar. St. John released a song a few years ago. Um, didn't really do anything. St. John, he didn't catch on for one reason or another. Even with a Beyonce cosign. Um, this, I believe, Imanbek is 17 from, I don't know, a country in Europe. I don't remember
I
which
was about to
one.
say, sounds very Swedish.
Yeah,
Please forgive me
and he just
for making
basically
assumptions.
pitched. Yeah, he basically pitch shifted this song too and remixed it and released it, and it also blew up. So both of these songs are rising at the same time, and I just could not stand them. I couldn't stand their sound. I hated that the Jay Sean song was taken and ruined because I think the original song is pretty good.
Oh,
And
I
same thing with "Roses." I think I don't love the original by St. John, but I don't hate it either. But I hate that it was basically Alvin and the Chipmunks on my radio again.
okay. Well, that's a little harsh.
I don't think so. I could be
That's a
harsher.
little. I had no idea who St. John was, and he should thank Iman Beck for this remix because it got him a Grammy nomination.
That it did. Well, to be fair, St. John did get a Grammy nomination for Best Music Video with Brown Skin Girl with Beyonce. So he didn't
Oh.
need Iman Big.
Okay, but I didn't know who that. I didn't know who. I had paid no attention to that.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, I'm being honest. Like I had no idea who he was. I had never heard of St. John.
Yeah.
But the remix is super fun. It's super catchy. I love it. I thought it was weird that the general public loved it too, though, because
Right.
not
Yeah,
not normally do we agree on things, me and the general public.
exactly. Moving on to number 3, Black Eyed Peas, J Balvin, Ritmo. And honestly, everything that Black Eyed Peas have put out this year could be on this list.
Okay, but not this one.
Yes, this one, but
No.
especially this one.
I was so excited when I found out they had a song with J Balvin.
Oh, I was too, and then I found out it was this one, and then I was really disappointed.
I
It's so annoying. And the Black Eyed Peas think they're a Latin group now, and they're just not. Instills
True.
rage in me.
That is true.
But I do want to just get right into number 2. We've already touched on this song a lot, so we're gonna touch on it and then jump to my number 1. "Yummy" by Justin Bieber, number 2.
Oh, Bieber.
A genuinely agreed song that, unless you are part of the Grammys, you hate this song.
Right, like, and they're just dinosaurs. So
Yeah,
dinosaurs that don't know why they like this song if they do like it.
exactly. And no matter what your thoughts are on "Blinding Lights," the song that should have been nominated over this. But anyway, before I give you a chance to fight me, number 1, 6ix9ine and Nicki Minaj, "Trolls."
This is another song that we agree should be on the worst songs of 2020.
So, full disclosure, because of things that have happened in my personal life and things that 6ix9ine is convicted of and has gone to prison for, I have refused to ever listen to a full one of his songs. I have never listened to a full 6ix9ine song. And just even the idea of 6ix9ine literally makes me angry. Like, I've never hated an artist so much. So I've actually never even listened to this full song. So technically, my number one worst song of the year that I've actually fully listened to is Yummy. But the fact that this song debuted at number one on the Hot 100, I had to put it at number one for that reason.
I really didn't follow. Like, I don't know what Tekashi went to jail for.
Mm,
I don't know about all his drama. I kind of stayed out of that. I'll be over
yeah.
here. um, I do know that if you are going to continue to partner with Nicki Minaj, then you're going to need to bring better than Fifi every time y'all come back to the table together. And
Yeah.
this was not that.
And let me just say, I've liked Nicki Minaj just like everyone else for 10 years or so. Like, she's obviously one of the biggest, most important artists in music in the past 10 years. Since she has co-signed now with 6ix9ine twice, and because of her, he has a number one hit. It, I'm not completely blaming her. I still like her music and stuff, but it's really disappointed me with her. I've been very disappointed with Nicki Minaj the past couple years.
Well, isn't there some controversy around like her husband too? Like, wasn't he a felon or something?
Yeah, there's something along those lines. But
I don't know. I
I
try to stay
actually
out of the
almost
drama.
yeah. I almost just didn't include this song and just added another song and put Yummy as my number one. But I had to put this on here. And I will say his song Gooba, which I've also obviously never listened to all the way through. I've heard that one's worse than this one, so maybe I should have done that.
Many of them are worse than this one.
Yeah. But because this was a song that gave 6ix9ine a number one hit, it had to be here.
Right.
Obviously, everything we have said here is just my opinion, it's just her opinion. So we're not saying just because I don't like a Blackpink song, just because we talk bad about it, does not mean you need to cancel us, okay? Because we don't want to be canceled. We're just starting out.
Right.
Yeah, I guess that's it. I hope you guys have found some songs that maybe in my best list that maybe you haven't heard of, or some artists that we mentioned that you haven't heard of that you're going to go check out. If you haven't heard of some of these more unknown artists that I talked about in my favorites list, like Alec Benjamin, or I mean, Kelsey Ballerini is not unknown, but if you're like a pop fan, you're not a huge fan of hers, maybe check out some of her music. Um, some of Conan Gray or Lauv that we've talked about. I highly recommend checking them out. Any of these other songs, any of these other artists that I talked about, checking them out. But any of the songs about Worthless, just don't do it.
For sure. Like, don't even waste your time. It's fine.
nobody,
I'm just kidding.
nobody
Except for
needs,
Stuck With You.
nobody needs Stuck With You in their life.
Yes,
Just
they
you can.
do.
No one. Okay, no one needs Breland and Sam Hunt's My Truck in their life.
Yeah, for sure. That part.
There we go. We can agree. All right. So I think that wraps it up for today.
Thank you for joining us on this week's episode of Jukebox Junkies, where we break down music industry trends, topics, and politics. This week we delved into Dylan's most loved and hated songs of 2020. Do you guys agree with his opinions?
You
Let us
better.
know in the comments below. Join us next week as we dive into Chelsey's most loved and hated songs of 2020. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and always let us know if there's any topics you want us to talk about.
Until next time, guys. Bye.
Bye.